Welcome back to the Young Minds Podcast on episode 10. It's hard to believe that we're on 10 episodes of this podcast. I mean, seriously. You know, when I started this thing, I didn't expect it to go as far as it did. And if the audio quality sounds a bit better, it's because I'm using a mic now. Thanks to Donovan. He told me what his old mic was and sent me the link, and I went ahead and ordered it. It sounds really, really good. For how cheap it was. But today is going to be just, the final episode of the year, and just kind of a reflection on just all that has happened in 2022. I mean, because this is going to be one of the best years that I've ever had. One of the best years of my life. I mean, just period. To start off, this was the year that I was gotten baptized, and that was such a big thing, because towards the end of 2021, I've told the story before, but I'll kind of gloss over it. I started asking questions from some friends and everything, and it was something I'd always wanted, just doesn't know how to start, or get there, and they showed me how, and then in April of this year, I was saved on Easter and then baptized. But before that, I've been so busy, which is amazing, because before I was just, I wouldn't have much to do, I'd be sitting around, but I went to a VBS, before I got saved and everything, and it was actually maybe a week or two before, because I was always around Easter, and it was so, just enjoyable, to help that smaller church that we went to. It was Alzey Baptist, and it helped them with the kids and the Easter egg hunt and stuff like that, and it was so rewarding too. You really, they put you to work if you're there, but hey, it's really rewarding if if you do something like that, and I really recommend it. If you haven't done something like that, please do it, volunteer and do it. But there was just some other things. There was a lot of first time things that I was able to do, this year. One thing being, went to a concert. Never been to a concert. Friend of mine, his dad took me and him and another friend to this concert. It was at Wild Adventures. And that's our theme park down here in Valdosta, Georgia. If you didn't know, it was down here. And it was just so it was so fun. It was a bunch of it was 3 70s bands. It was Grand Funk, Foghat, and oh man, why can't I think of the other one? It was Grand Funk, Foghat, and the Guess Who. That's who it was. Yeah, and because like I said, I've never been to one, and we had seats that were reserved, but they were on the last row of the reserved seating, and I didn't know how loud it was going to be. Thankfully, my friend's dad that invited us, he brought us earplugs, because even on that last row, it was, blaring loud. Because they're 70s rock bands, so it's really, really loud. Probably one of the highlights from that concert was when, because when it got dark, that's when the lights started coming on and everything. It was awesome. And one of the highlights, I believe it might have been Grand Funk that did this. They played the national anthem, in the middle of the concert, and everybody just started singing it. It was just so cool. You really, it just gave you chill bumps sitting there, and really you just took it all in. That was one of the many things that I was amazed about, and just going to that concert was just awesome. Never been to one, and I hope we can do it again. And one of the things that I was able to do, it was pretty recent, was go to a skeet shoot, and with a friend or a group of friends. So it was, and I was able to spend some time with my dad, and that was awesome. I've not shot a gun in years, so that was just a really cool experience. And because of that, my dad got me a pump shotgun for Christmas. So, and we can do more of that and spend more time together. So I'm really excited, just about that. And there's also not, there's just those fun activities that I did, but also there was, just, I was plugged in my church and all those things, so there was so many more activities that we did, and that kept us so busy. Like, I remember one week, I had so many different activities. It was 3 different things, and it wasn't all for the church, but, like, one day, it was had something to do with it was the fall festival for, my church, and then I had a event for Operation Patriotism, which that was another thing that was so cool to do. It was passing out candy to kids for trunk or treat, and then like that next day, I believe it was my mom's birthday or something like that, but all of it was so fun. It was a busy week, but it was really, really fun to do all of it, and I'm just so thankful for all that I've been able to do. And one of the things that really stood out, and there was so much, but the Christ Makes Winners rally was also something that really, that was so cool. It was it was, we had, because it was Wintersville that week. And what Wintersville is, for people who don't know, so we have 2 teams down here. I go to Lowndes High School, and there's also Valdosta High School. Well, for years, they've had a rivalry, right? Well, that's what we call Wintersville. And, so every year, that's a big thing down here. And so for that's why they have the Christ Makes Winners rally, to bring together Lowndes and Valdosta, people, and so we can just worship Jesus. And they had both coaches, at the time. Our coach for Lowndes has changed now, but they had both coaches at the time, come up and speak and, tell a little bit about their stories and some of the kids that they had, and it's how much of a pleasure it was. And that was so cool to just see both coaches, up on stage together, and that they were just, it was so funny. They were like, yeah, we wish you all the best except for one game of the year, so it was just a funny bickering back and forth. But, it was kind of similar to the concert in some ways. Once they got the word, once Jay Platt, the guy who spoke, he was, he said the word and everything. And also, he's the only, I believe, if I get this right, he was the only man to swim across, I think, maybe the Mississippi River. He was handcuffed, blindfolded, and, tied to his feet, too. Don't ask me how he did that. I have no idea. But he, was telling us that story and everything, and he was an amazing speaker, and turns out my mom knew who he was, which was awesome, and he actually goes to my church as well, and so that made it even better. But one of the things about that was towards the end, they did one more song, and because all the other songs, honestly, I didn't know what they were. I wasn't jamming to them per se, right? Well, the last song was Glorious Day, and of course I knew what that was. And it was so awesome, just I was clapping along, enjoying myself. It was so fun, and also, just to jump into some other things that happened this year that I can't believe it, is, this whole podcast thing. Where in the world did it come from, because it started back, I think maybe the date that the episode released was October 21st, is when the episode with me and Cody, dropped on his podcast. I still cannot believe that. That still is so crazy to me that, he allowed me to, that the Lord allowed us to talk. And, I'm so thankful that Cody, let me come on, because, like I said in the episode with Mikey yesterday, I kind of feel or I might have just told him this, I'm not really sure, but, sometimes, I think a lot of adults, they look down on the youth today, and so, the fact that he was able to, that he allowed me to come on and have a voice was, and speak my mind and just tell my story was so awesome, and I'll never forget it. I remember the days leading up to us recording and it dropping. I was so excited. I think it might have been on a Friday that we recorded it, and, I was so pumped, and ready to do it, and so that kind of, pushed forward, this whole podcast thing with the Young Minds podcast. But one of the things that I ended up doing after Cody's episode was I stopped uploading to TikTok, and I don't look at it as much anymore, because if you don't know, TikTok's a very, the people on there, they're great, and that's where I met Cody from, and that's kind of where this all stemmed from. However, the people are great, some of them, but, But the app itself is not great at all in terms of being, a Christian influence. It's not at all. So I knew I had to get away, but the great thing is this podcast kind of filled that place in, and I was able to find, community in this podcast and brotherhood of sorts, because I met Donovan, met Ben, and met Justin, and so many others, and, they're all awesome in their own right, and they have so many unique qualities about them for when they do this podcast, and I've been able to kind of not really model my podcast off of theirs, but just take bits and pieces and formulate my own, which I thought that was it's so cool to just have those examples and to I'm able to message them on the daily, see how they're doing and stuff like that. And it's so cool, because they're in many different places. I believe, if I'm talking about I don't know about Justin, but I know the other three. Cody's in Ohio, Indiana is where Ben is, I believe, and then Donovan is in Tennessee. And I'm from Georgia, so we have there's 4 different people right there that are in different places. We talk on the daily basis and do these podcasts together, and it's so cool to me, that we're doing this, and we're doing it all for the glory of God. I mean, it's just so awesome. Sorry, and this is the last thing I expected to be doing. I've said that so many times, but it's just so cool to me, I mean, and I've been able to, and I've researched a little bit, and I've tried to keep, I want to improve with every single episode, whether it be when I'm interviewing somebody, whether it be if I'm just speaking, whether it's delivering a message or the word just speaking by myself, I want to improve it, and I'm always asking Donovan or Cody or one of them, hey, since you listen to this, is there anything that, be honest, is there anything that I can improve on or whatever, and things like that, and they always deliver on that, and it was just been such an amazing opportunity, that I didn't expect to land in my lap, with this episode right here airing today, it's going to be 10 episodes in total that I've recorded, and that's so awesome, and I didn't expect, with the interviews too, I loved them, the ones by myself, they're good, but but those interviews, I love doing them so much, because there's so many different viewpoints you can go, and each of them, so I think I've done 4 out of the 10 episodes, that I've had, and each of them had brought something different to the table. I mean, so, Donovan brought something different than Cody, and then Eli brought something different than those two, and then Mikey brought something different than all 3. So it's been, just an honor to talk to them, and Mikey, especially, and Donovan, at the time, and, Cody some too, we haven't talked much verbally at the time, and the time we did those episodes, and so it was nice to sit down with them and talk with them and have a conversation, and, it's just something so cool about, sitting down with them and having those deep conversations, because honestly, I find, not everybody does, but in a way, I, have fun with them, it's because they're deep, meaningful conversations, and they're just good to have, and they make you feel good at the end of the day, you're I really got something out of that, because I'm sure we can all think of times when you have a conversation with somebody, and you're just why am I sitting here, it's wasting my time, I'm not getting nothing out of it, but those, you can really feel when you get something out of it, and what's great about all those people, that I've mentioned, is that I could go to them, text them at any point and say, hey, this is going on, yada, 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 can you pray for me, or can you pray for them, or whatever it may be, I'm going through this issue, could you, maybe listen for a minute and just tell, so I could tell you what's going on, and they would do it, I mean, so it's so awesome to have that, tight-knit, group of people, whether it be right here at home, or, across the country in different places, and, another thing that I didn't expect is to see where this podcast would go, at least, not even in the U.S. Of course, most of the audience is here due to, just friends and things like that. But, it's been to many different places like Canada, Mexico, a place called Papua New Guinea. I probably said that wrong. And if you're listening from there, I'm sorry. But South Africa, I think, is one. And that might be it. I'm not sure. There might be another one. I just can't think of where it is. But, that's so crazy. Just think that my little old voice has made it, that far around in just that short time. I started this podcast in November, on November 3rd, which was when the first episode dropped. And just to think, it's the December 31st right now. And it's so crazy to think, that this is the last day of the year, and this is how far it's gone. And I just can't believe it. I've done so much awesome stuff and met so many awesome people. And I can't wait to see where it goes, because I've got some awesome plans for the podcast moving forward. And I can't wait to jump, straight into 2023 with a bang and just get to work on that and just see what messages the Lord puts on my heart. And I'm sure there's going to be even more, as I continue my walk. I've been on it for less than a year, which that's going to come up in April, and I've got some stuff for that, like I've said. But it's going to be so cool, and I can't wait to continue walking with all of you and see where this goes. But I think I've covered everything I want to hit for this year, and I want you to have, and I will kind of give you maybe a challenge before I head out of here, is look at 2023 as an opportunity. 2023 is done with. You got a clean slate. Now, what's some ways you can improve on what you did, or maybe there was something you didn't like that you did, or habit that you're trying to kick, right? Or that you want to kick. Guess what? This is your time to do it, because the Lord's given you a clean slate. Now you can start on January 1st and make a better you, right? And maybe, who knows, maybe it might be a small thing, but you know what? It might be small to others, but if it's big for you, go for it. Just keep on pushing and just keep trusting in the Lord, But that's my challenge to you, is when you head into this 2023 year, as Donovan says, live intentionally for the Lord, and make sure, if there's anything that you want to improve on, go for it. You have a clean slate. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. But I just want to say that I hope you all have a fantastic 2023, and I will see you in the new year. Thanks for listening.